Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Sichongu CDC's Facebook Live page. This is 7Gen Live. Welcome everyone. Hope you're having a great day so far. Today we're discussing MMIW, and we are here with SunRose Iron Shell. She's been on the show before, but we are just always happy to have her back. Every time she's on the show, it's really informative. You can feel the passion and the work that she does. So we're just very excited to have her back on the show. Good morning, SunRose. Actually, good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. How's your day going so far?
It's going pretty well. It's an exciting today because it's my companion's birthday today. So give a big old shout out to Nafe. Happy birthday. I made a choke cherry pie.
Not to eat or anything?
Yeah. I cooked the choke cherry pie. One of my favorite things that I make, and try to be traditional with it. But choke cherry pie, so we'll be eating it up later. And so order a pie, because people order pies for me. So I made a few and I'll be dropping those off. So anyways, birthday.
I'm happy to be here. I'll have to order one for sure. I just want to remind everyone real quick that Mike Prate, who is my co-host, he is not on the show with us today. He's actually in the middle of a director's meeting. He got really busy, so he won't be on today's show, but that's okay. Still going to be awesome. Again, we're chatting with SunRose Iron Shell. And SunRose, I just want to have you take this moment to tell us more about yourself.
Okay. Umitakuye tate dopa macha piksto naha iyuhan chante washde nape chuza piksto. So my name is SunRose Iron Shell. My Lakota name stands for Directions Woman. And I've lived on and off the reservation and had some experiences, a lot of experiences with non-Native folks. And so my whole life, it's all about educating, all about always getting questions. Oh, you're Native American? I didn't know you existed. And so I come to the term unicorn, that Native Americans, our tribal people, all of our young people, we're unicorns, because every time you step out into the world, people are in disbelief that you exist. There's something going on in America where they want to keep us invisible. So even though as an artist, as a designer, I'm trying to be out there in the world and try to almost compete with the other fashion designers of the world. And Native Americans are just kept somehow in this bubble, kept invisible. And that's the American duty, like the American citizens' duty to erase our oyate. And so we have to fight so much harder just to have an existence within ourselves. So as an artist, I've chosen to go ahead and be that voice, knowing that we need that voice there, because so many non-natives in my life are just so amazed that I'm even alive, let alone to start talking about treaty stuff, start talking about MMIW. So first they have to get over that we still exist, and we have to really put that message out there that I'm still alive. I still have a seat at the table. Don't forget that we still sit there. Don't act like we're gone. And with my art classes, sometimes to get a better picture, the world thinks we're way back here in black and white. And so as an artist, I'm using color, using other things that a Native wouldn't supposedly use. So in my artwork, they're always saying, that's not Native. And it's like, well, I'm the Native woman. I'm going to tell you, I'm the Lakota woman, and just watch me live. And trying to live with all of our 12 virtues, our Lakota virtues of respect and compassion and generosity and all of that. I just try to keep that in there. So I'm always open for questions. There we go.
So just give us a quick update as to what you've been up to personally. Are you teaching? Are you still working on your fashion? What have you been up to?
Oh, you are? Okay.
I am, well, right now we're at St. Francis High School, still in the high school, but we're all online. We're doing different computer programs online. So nothing is lesson planning. So I'm trying to work with some kind of maybe after school activities to get some of our culture back and some of our culture going. I know we've been talking about doing a buffalo hunt again for the school and kind of reaching out and feeding people that way. Also, there have been a lot of MMIW stories and cases, and so it's always an ongoing thing. And as an artist, creating an image with the MMIW or with the red dress per se. So the red dress is becoming very recognizable as that icon for MMIW. So with my artwork, the past one that we did was the sticker, and I have one right here. So we commissioned that. We worked together with Sichangu CDC. So this was our little PSA for everyone to mask up. So in this drawing, I chose to make her coat red for MMIW and then her hat red for MMIW. So there's a lot of red going on. And it's not just because we're Red Nation and Red Power, but it's also the Canadians. And really that's where the movement started, was in MMIW Canada with I Don't Know More. And the Canadians say that, or the Indigenous people of occupied Canada, they say that red calls the spirit home. And so that's why the red dress and the red handprint as well. There's some controversy with the red handprint, because if the handprint's over your face, it's basically symbolizing your being silenced, which is true, but I don't necessarily, as an artist, it's my own opinion, I don't necessarily believe it needs to be a red handprint that is over our face, because I feel like that's a native hand, Red Nation, with their hand over our red faces. And really it should be a white hand, because it's the American government and the laws that have really perpetuate that stereotype of being invisible. And then also the hypersexualization of Indian women in Pocahontas with Disney Channel. That is the #1 hypersexualization of Indigenous women. And now Halloween's coming up. So there's another kind of cross-cultural fight, and it's in every battlefield. There's not one place like fashion is an industry that we always have to fight. And then artwork, people stealing our artwork and making blankets like Pendleton. I'm very anti-Pendleton. I'm very 8th generation. They are a Native-owned company, and trying to keep our resources within the boundaries of our culture. Anyway, I'm getting all over the place. I'm excited to be here with you today.
Awesome. I'm glad you brought that up, because I did see in an article on Facebook where there was a lot of controversy that the handprint over your face should be white and not red. So I'm glad you addressed that. I know people still have questions about it, and so many people are a part of that movement and they're already using the red handprint. So it's almost like it's not right if you use the white handprint. So do you think both are okay?
Yeah, at this point, it's kind of gone out and grown so much that it's all wojapi, I like to say. It's kind of just all mixed up. And our traditional way, we're not supposed to wear the red handprint. I believe it's like a signal of death or something, somebody died, or anyways, it's not a very appropriate thing to do, specifically as Lakotas and Sichangus. I try to keep it like, what is my right as a Lakota woman versus what's their right as a woman from Canada. And so they started the movement, so I'll just go ahead and keep going with them. But maybe personally, like the next time we do some photos or we have a prayer action, I'm gonna do the white handprint instead. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for clearing that up. Now, before we get into more of this discussion of MMIW, wanted to talk a little bit about your poem, which is called Save My Missing Sisters poem. And first of all, I want to start off by asking you, what was your inspiration for this poem?
So I went to school in Santa Fe, New Mexico at the Institute of American Indian Arts, IAIA. So I also had a lot of Indian artists who were doing awesome inspirational things. So Charles Rencounter, he's also Ocheti Shakoi, and he presented one day to our class a pipestone effigy, and in archaeological terminology, but the bowl of the Chanupa, they used to send messages through that. And I believe, a lot of our written language is in symbols and artistry. So they can't really say that we never had a written language, because that's something that's formed and created. So there was a message, there was a time where we were being tricked a lot by the United States government. And so people stopped listening to the government. A lot of times in the village, back in the day when they did have all those pipestone effigies, they needed to send this message, because none of the leaders or none of the people were looking at the white men or the government. The government had grew so big and it had a real big head. That was how the people described the white man. He had a really big head, and that everything he said was kind of full of hot air and his head being so big. And so all the Indians, they didn't look at him. And it was at a time where we needed to stand up and look at him. So there is this pipestone effigy where on the bowl, the part of the bowl is a big head, and it represents that white governmental big head. And then there's a tiny, tiny carved figure on that pipestone where it's a man, and he's sitting down and he's looking straight up at the big head. He is not afraid to look. And so that is the name of that historical pipestone effigy. And then so Charles Rencounter, one of my classmates, he's an awesome sculptor, does awesome sculpture. So he created a life-size, well, bigger than life-size, this huge, huge sculpture to represent that, not afraid to look. And what he does is he takes that big, huge sculpture and he'll put it in front of things or building or places that are issues to Native people. He took it up to Standing Rock. And so this next picture that we have is the picture of that small part of the effigy of the man, of the Indian man who was not afraid to look. So this is at Standing Rock. So he built the piece there, and I believe it's still there, and that's LaDonna and Charles, the artists there. And so that was really inspirational to me. We were at a time where we were afraid to look, but now I feel that that's reversed. As Indian people today, we keep trying to get people to look at us, and now they are afraid to look at us. Also, that relates to MMIW so much for me, because Americans, they don't look for us. And the way they see us is that stereotype, that hypersexualization. So it's almost they are afraid to look at us. So in this poem, it was all my frustrations just kind of coming out and speaking to that big head, or speaking to that governmental head, is you are afraid to look at me now. Now we are looking at you, and we want you to look at us, but you're afraid to look. So American society is afraid to look. So basically, I'm telling them off in this. They're my audience. The American United States citizens are the audience, because they help perpetuate this missing and murdered invisibility. So I'll go into that.
I'm so excited to share this poem. Again, it is called Save My Missing Sister. Is it sister or sisters?
Sisters.
Save My Missing Sisters. And this poem was actually featured in a new documentary that has not yet come out. It's called Women of the White Buffalo. And can you tell us a little bit about that and how you managed to have this poem featured in this film?
So I haven't done poetry in a long time. And there was a gathering at Braveheart Society and Lake Andes with all these grandmas. And I had it written on a piece of paper, and I decided to test the waters. So I said, okay, grandmas, hi, unchis, can I read you my poem? I was like, do you have a couple extra minutes? And I want to read you this poem, and you can tell me how it feels. And so I read the poem, and then there was Unchi Carol Iron Rope. She was there. She's from Ogallala and partially. Anyways, Carol Iron Rope. She's one of my relatives from my Ogallala side. and she had a film director, film producer, Kumiko, with her. And she's the one who really linked us up with Deborah. And my poem just really sparked that inspiration with them. And in Women of the White Buffalo follows the stories of several women in different types of their life. So there's a young girl, I think in the film at the time, she's like 11 or 12, then a 20-year-old, and then me, the 30-something-year-old, and then a few other ladies. And then we have Unchi Marie Randall. She's also in the film too. And she talked about her experience in Wounded Knee Takeover and how they used to call her Band-Aid Mama. So she has a really cool story in the film. I'm just so blessed to be with those other females. Also, Jules Rich from Mamas Against Meth Alliance, she's also in the film. So there's a few of us powerhouses that speak, but the film, it talks a lot about the statistics that we have to go through, and it's triggering. I cry when I see the film. It's definitely triggering, but what it is a conversational piece. It's a conversational piece so that non-natives can get to really see what the systematic tendencies has caused us, that we are not here because we wanted to be here, wrapped up in this poverty or wrapped up in all this violence or anything. We don't want to be here, but it's systematically set up that we're here, systematically set up for Americans to believe that we're invisible. So if you believe someone's invisible, when you hear that they went missing, you're not going to put two to two together. You're going to say, oh, that person's not even around anyway. Why should we go? So it's this whole mental kind of prison that we're in, and also the laws that don't protect us, which we'll mention that after. And so Women of the White Buffalo, it has not released yet. We're still waiting on a few bills we got to pay, because we've borrowed footage from a few museums to explain the whole boarding school era. So we have to explain a lot of things before we can really talk about these core problems that are happening right now in real life. We have to explain all that historical stuff so people can understand how we came to be here. So the film, it's a lot of us explaining, and then it shines a light on how we are persevering through that and being resilient through that, still striving to speak our language and be cultural, that we're still here and we're still going. And so that also was filmed at St. Francis Indian School here in Rosebud. So I'm really proud of that, and I'm really excited to kind of put us out there on the map. And it's because we carry the legacy of a boarding school. And one day it will change. One day, I believe there's talk here at the school of it becoming a treaty school, and that it is a treaty school, and that our real name is actually Sichangu Oyatejo. So when I sign my checks, and that's what it says, it doesn't say St. Francis. St. Francis, I believe, is a real misinterpretation of who we really are as Indigenous people. And so this film should probably, hopefully, shines a light on that boarding school era that we're trying to still break away from. We're one of the last schools in Ochenti Shankoin to change their name. Why is that? How come it's so hard for us as Sichangus here to change our name when it should be like that? It shouldn't be a question at all. It should be, yes, we're Sichangu Oyate Ho, and that's what we want our graduates to be. And so this poem, it was a lot of my reactions to being here on the res and seeing that we ourselves are very uneducated as well, and about the loss, which we'll touch on after the poem.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and share this poem. When I first listened to it for the very first time, I just felt it. I felt your passion. I also felt your anger. And, you said this was your way of telling off the government or telling off the white man. And I think that's very appropriate. And you were being honest in your feelings, and I could definitely feel that passion. So let's go ahead and share this poem. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And I just hope everything works. everything works.
Save my missing sisters. I am here to break the chains that have systematically wiped away our existence, systematically led you to believe that it is your American duty to erase my oyate. You're sitting pretty petty on your throne built from the hearts of my people, and I know you can't bear to look at me. I am the reminder of your parents' devious atrocities, for you fear the blood karma to be falling upon you. You shun it, praying that this too shall pass. Straight line, with your fake facade, hiding your real fear, your cowardice can't bear to look at me, as if I'll disappear. I live deep inside your guilt, in the pit at the bottom of your throat. How dare you pass off your consequences to your kids? You are supposed to make life better for them, yet here I stand, defending the sacred for your own children, standing where you failed, yet you claim to own this land. You believe there are no repercussions for your actions, like there will never ever be another 7th generation. Now, you can't bear to look at me. But from this moment on, you will never forget me. Try to bind me in chains, red tape me, dressed in your army fatigues, rape me. I am the mother. This earth is in my blood, and my blood is in this earth. And oh, how these stars and stripes regret me, failing to kill me, but you can't bear to look at me. You go on gloating like I've never defeated you before, but my roots run deep, steady reaching beneath, and I am here to break the chains that have systematically depleted me. My legacy is locked behind your golden gate, and yeah, I got trust issues, diamond cuts and bloody tissues. I've been certified and tested while you've doubled up and invested, 10,000 times overdue your whole system's revenue. So the rent must be paid. Over 4,000 lives you have claimed with their tied hands and running blisters. This is the call out to the world. No more stolen sisters.
Woo!
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. It was so powerful. I got somebody here in the office with me, and this was her first time hearing it. She said it gave her chills, and I think it gave us all chills. And I hope you're all here watching this and you were able to witness this for the first time. It's actually very emotional. I get emotional hearing it every time because you think like this stuff doesn't affect you. You think that you've moved on from it, but you look at the history of our people and we're still living through these hard times. And you want, like, we have people from the outside always telling us, like, you chose this, you chose the life you're living, you chose these things, you choose to live this life. But that's not the case. There is a reason why we struggle. And that's why we have SunRose here. And she is that voice for our people. She's one of the many voices for our people. And, you know, you were stating facts in this. Not only were you talking about your feelings, but you were stating facts of what has actually happened. What are you feeling right now, SunRose? I mean, it's a little crazy to see you become emotional about it because you are the person who wrote this, but what are you feeling right now?
It's very emotional. I didn't think I'd get so emotional just now. But one of the greatest examples that I like to tell people, and that's why I wish Mike was here, because Native tribes cannot persecute or charge any non-Native. And if we want to go even further, The Rosebud Sioux tribe cannot charge somebody who is not from the Rosebud Sioux tribe. That means that anybody who is not enrolled with us can come and take advantage of me on our own reservation tribal lands. So I always like to point to the non-native in the room. So I'd point to Mike right now and I'd say, Mike, you could murder me right now online on Facebook Live, and we'd have the murder evidence, we'd have witnesses and everything. And the tribe couldn't do anything. We couldn't even arrest him or hold him. So the tribe is we really have our hands tied behind our backs with that plenary power. It's called plenary power that the tribes of South Dakota do not have. So perpetrators know this. Human traffickers know this. They know that if they steal an Indian woman, nobody's gonna look for them. They also know that if I were living in the city as, let's see, a Denver citizen, I'm a citizen of Denver, and then I go missing, they might put some posters up, but there's not going to be a detective who comes or who is in charge of my case. All those cases go cold because they're left up to the feds. Every Native person has to go straight to the feds, right? No state cop can charge us. Maybe on the interstate, if we have if we're driving too fast or something, we can get a ticket from the state. But if the state wants to charge us, they have to get a fed. And so I think about our young men a lot with that, a lot, because our young men will get into an altercation and it might just be very minimal. Very minimal. Let's say a vandalization. Let's say we put all these dresses up at the man camp. That's vandalization because that's state property or it's somebody else's private property that's on the state, that's not on the res. So we have these jurisdictional boundaries that keep people from really pursuing us. So a state detective, if he wanted to pursue that case, he could, on his own, out of his own goodwill or his or her own goodwill. But they don't. They turn around and they give that case to the feds. And then those legality processes take so long that your trail has run cold. And then who's looking for you? Nobody. Nobody's looking for us. So we have to set up our own personal task forces to go looking for us. So a big one is Drag the Red. Drag the Red is what they do in Canada, where they go looking for bodies in the river. And they drag the river and they find those bodies. They're the ones that are finding us, our own people. It's not the police department, the detectives. And so in my reality of being an Indigenous woman, there's a lot of things I don't do myself. And one big example I always give is because I used to live in Denver in my high school years, and I used to be on track, and I'd want to go run the track or go run around the block. And my mom would always tell me not to do it. And I never really realized why until now. And now it's a form of white privilege that I see when white women get to wear their little sports bra and their little shorts and then go running around the block. Nobody's gonna pick them up because they know they'll be hunted right away, persecuted. That white blonde lady, the pictures will be all over. But if they see a brown woman, perpetrators see a brown woman running, and then maybe I got my Indian earrings on, and they're like, oh, look, that's an Indian, get her. Because they know nobody's gonna come looking for us. You might see my picture on the Amber Alert, but that's it. There's no specific task force. There's no detectives that are going to search for us. And so I never went running like that. I always wanted to. I always want to run around the block, but there's just things that we don't do. And also when we're driving by ourselves, sometimes for no reason, I get super scared for no reason. Just knowing that my other sisters were taken from the gas stations or taken from a lot of places. And just recently, when we started talking about this in my classes, St. Francis School was really good at letting me go ahead and decolonize the classroom. And they let me write my own lesson plans. And I was really shocked when I started throwing out, hashtag MMIW, when a lot of our own students didn't even know what that means. And maybe that's a little harsh on my part for me to expect Indians to know these things. If you're a Lakota person and you say you're from here, I expect you to want to be with the tribe. I expect you to rise above and say, yes, this is us. We are the Sicangus. But yet I was kind of met with reality of we don't necessarily have that. And I believe it's directly a direct result for the boarding school and kind of smashing our whole way of living and assimilating us. And so I even had one student tell me that my mom said we don't have to learn anything Lakota because we're Christians. And, that really broke my heart because it was, Christianity, the papal bulls, the doctrine of discovery that kind of really broke our people. And then for my own people to turn around and tell me, the youth to turn and tell me, I don't have to learn anything Lakota because we're Christian. And for me, I want to say, well, did you know you can leave the res? You can, you can go be assimilated. Go ahead and be assimilated because that does nothing for me and my people. I need you to be a warrior and I need you to want to better yourself for the people because we have all these issues to get through. And so once they start learning about MMIW, once they start really checking it out, like really checking out these high school students and understanding and realizing that, no, you're not protected. You're not protected. You think you're an American citizen, but we're still prisoner of war, subjugated to that prisoner of war number. And so they realized, all my high school students, they realized that we are in a pandemic, basically. We're in this survival mode all of a sudden because it became so real to them. It went from a hashtag to real life within one day. Because I told them, well, a man camp, first we explained what a man camp is, right? The man camp is the mobile houses that get put together all in one little acre. And those are the houses that the workers, the pipeline workers will stay at. And so they'll move that man camp all the way down the pipeline. And with that, they're getting paid a lot of money. And so what comes with that is human trafficking and a lot of drugs and alcohol. And so they steal women. In the film, we talked about, there's a couple of stories in there. And so my young women, they realized how close that man camp is with the KXL pipeline being here. It's really close. It's in our state. And then Cologne is the town, 20 minutes past Winter. And so that's really close. That is really close. Some of us go grocery shopping in Winter. And what if I went by myself to go grocery shopping and I never came back? And so I want our young girls and all our women and our boys too, because this sexual predator stuff happens on our young men too. And I remember Gracie Gillette, she used to work here as our Rosebud Sioux Tribe Police Department. She was one of the first whistleblowers for man camps. And that was quite a while ago. Maybe that was 12, 13 years ago. But when she whistleblew, they found a young man. And so those first MMIW stories were actually young men. And so it's not just women that we have to speak about, it's our men that even further get unrecognized. Yeah. So there's a lot of things we need to rise above the occasion, creating these task force, basically putting it on responsibility of Americans as well. And be like, America, this is not your jurisdiction, but it is your jurisdiction as well, because Indian country is all over, right? This is our whole land. And so either way, as human beings, they should be looking for us. So there's some things that in there different, you know, that the world needs to really look at and systematically change. And with this Black Lives Matter and the defunding of police, I think that's our really good moment, an opportunity for us to jump in and create the MMIW task force.
So you already kind of talked about, you know, where the MMIW movement began, and that was in Canada. Now, since then, what kind of progress have you seen come for our people, especially for Indigenous men and women? What kind of progress? Do we now have some task force in place?
Well, President Obama, he signed a law for the VAWA Act, the Violence Against Women Act, and that helped us with giving tribes jurisdiction to persecute non-natives, but there was a glitch to that as well. And the glitch was that Native American woman had to be in a relationship with that perpetrator. So if a stranger came in and murdered me, then they couldn't do anything. But if I was in a relationship with, you know, if I had this white boyfriend, invite him on the res, and then he murdered me, then they could charge him. But if I have a boyfriend and he's white and we move off the res, they can't charge him because that's off the res. And then how is that the state can't charge him? You know, there's something going on systematically where the state doesn't choose to charge them. They want to say, push the responsibility off to Native tribes, which we don't have that responsibility, because one day, if we had that responsibility to charge non-Native people to charge white people, I'm pretty sure we would charge them for the theft of our land and the theft of our resources. And so that is a very, very reason why we do not have control. They say they held everything in trust, but they distrust us. They don't trust, the United States government does not trust us enough to have that jurisdictional power or that plenary power.
So here on 7gen Live, we always like to look 7 generations ahead. And with MMIW and everything else that you're a part of as far as your activism goes, what do you wish to see for our women and children 7 generations from now?
I believe that we can denounce our United States citizenship. And this might be real far off, but remember, I'm an artist, I'm a dreamer, I'm a visionary. I believe that we can cut ourselves off from the United States government and really get our country back. Because this is supposed to be the country of the Sioux Nation, the Oceti Sakowin and our allies. So we have to come together, maybe two families from each band, the Dakotas and the Nakotas, and come together and restructure governmental system and become a nation. The United Nations quantifies a nation of people as no less than 200 people. So right now, yes, we are the Oceti Sakowin and we're Lakota, but we're all separated in these corporation type of reservations. So this is not what it's supposed to be. None of these tribal councils are coming together. There's no super council where all the presidents go together. And so there has to be this unity that's coming back, this reconnection to our sacred bundles and our chunupas, and believing that way and approaching everything with prayer and what the white buffalo calf woman taught us how to live. We should go back to those teachings and unchristianize ourselves, uncatholicize ourselves, or however decolonize ourselves. But really it's this whole religion, Christianity, that's been really put on us, and now we believe that's us. But the prayer doesn't work that way. The prayer works with the way white buffalo calf woman taught us, because those are our ways and those are our blood. 7 generations from now, I want us to have sustainable communities and where we are really headsmen and headswomen, and how many people we can take care of. And then even further, that we're taking care of our own people, but then can we take care of the world? I think we can. I think our beliefs on living with the earth and having that natural law that will obey, that we can bring back the dirt and the earth and the nutrients and bring back the buffalo. We got to get rid of these cows. I'm sorry, y'all. We just got to get rid of them. We really do. And the buffaloes, those are our relatives anyway. And the ghost dancers, they prayed to bring the people back, but they also prayed to bring the buffalo back. So I'm really happy for, you know, Redco and Sicangu CDC to make that statement of how they want it to be the largest tribe to have the largest buffalo herd. And so I'm looking forward to that. So that's a big step in 7th generation, is taking care of the buffalo. The health of the buffalo is a direct result of our health. So if we have more buffalo in our lives, we're giving away buffalo, everyone gets to eat buffalo. Some of my high school kids, they told me they never tasted buffalo. And I'm like, I bet you tasted buffalo. You just didn't know. You just didn't know. And so protecting the water, because we can't live one generation without water. We're going to have to be masters of water. Anyone who's a high school senior or looking to get in college, I would suggest you go get your college bachelor's degree in protecting water, in like being the master of water and how you can cleanse water, what kind of straws and filters we need, because we're gonna need that those oil pipelines are here. So we're gonna need all that conservation. And so the language, our prayer, having that connection to the land, and we'll be okay for the next 500 years in that next 7th generation. But we have to make a stand. We have to, this generation, everybody alive now has to step up and take that risk. Be that warrior, take that risk in doing that and taking those steps, or else if you don't take the risk, then the next generation's definitely not. So it is literally on our shoulders, this generation, to take those steps. Bring back warriors.
I do believe we all have a responsibility for that, and we should all be visionaries, because those are big visions, but we're all fully capable of making that happen within the next 7 generations. Real quick, I just want to remind all of you who are watching, if you have any questions or you would like SunRose to expand on some of the things she's discussing, please comment and let us know, and we'll get to those questions before we end the live today. SunRose, I also wanted to ask you, I wanted to share some pictures about an event that you put on at the St. Francis Indian School. So let's go ahead and pull those up here in just a moment. And while I pull those pictures up, if you could just give us a brief background as to what it was you guys were doing that day.
After researching MMIW, the students, they had a call. They felt a call in their hearts. We have to do something. Let's do something. What are we going to do? Well, as artists, we're going to start with these red dresses. And so we colored red dresses. And here we're gathering in my classroom, and we're getting ready to go outside to make that prayer. We are, the students, the young girls, they really wanted to wear the red dress. And what's really powerful with this image right here is something that I did not expect to happen at all. I was not expecting this at all, but they were like, let's wear the red paint. Let's put the red handprint. And so they were saying, well, who's gonna do it? And it was my, telling them about it. So they, SunRose, paint us. And so I got paint. I was painting my hand, and then they all stood in a line. It wasn't you have to, if you're going to be a part of this, you have to. It was them, and I'm really super impressed that they wanted to. And they all got in a line, and there was something really ancient, something really powerful, mystical that happened in that moment when they stood there and they closed their eyes, and then I put that handprint on their face, and then holding their face there for a second, and then letting go and seeing them, they were trying that moment. It was really powerful.
Awesome. Go ahead and tell us about this next picture here.
This is in the Wachipi grounds, and I wanted to use the Wachipi grounds because it was in a circle, and then it was also painted in the 4 direction colors. So we all gathered, and I spread them all out. They were kind of all bunched up. Let's spread out. Let's stand in a circle. And then we handed them little groups of that red dress. And here's one of them right here. So we laminated them because our plan is to hang them up outside. Our original plan is to hang them up at the man camp so they can literally see this red dress and think about it every day that they're out there. So we're holding the red dresses, and then the drum group came out and they sang a 4 Direction song and sang a prayer song, and we all stood in those 4 directions and we were all holding these red dresses, thinking about a prayer for protection, so that we are not easily taken. That maybe when the perpetrators drive in to go pick somebody else, they totally pass us, you know. I believe that our medicine and our prayers are that powerful that perpetrators can just totally pass us, and that even for the coronavirus, that it totally crumbles up, you know, and loses its capability to cause us sick. So here we're praying and we're getting ready to make that prayer.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next picture. Ooh, this is a really beautiful one.
Natalie Bordeaux, she's really awesome. She is a senior this year. I'm looking really forward to what she's gonna do in her life. Now that she knows all this information, and she was one of the 4. There were 4 young girls that were just really adamant and like, let's do something. Let's make a statement. Let's do something for our community. Every MMIW thing that we had been researching was all outside of our community. And so we wanted to do something here. It was kind of really fast put together. I know, realizing now, I should have reached out to some of our programs, like the White Buffalo Cat Shelter, and I know there's another women's society that's kind of around here, but that also sparks a big challenge to us here in our own community to start getting together more and start being collaborative. So collaboration is going to be a big thing coming up on the rest, because we did this here, and then at college a year ago they also did one too, but we weren't so connected where it could have been as powerful as it could be. So with these girls, I feel I can call on them now to help make that movement stronger, and that they'll have new ideas. So Natalie Bordeaux, just looking so powerful here, and see, like, after we painted them, you know, they changed, you know, that spiritually made something different with them, so that she's standing there, she's standing so proud in that opposition of no KXL, no pipeline.
Now, most of the people watching are from this community and they already know what KXL is, but we do have a few people who are out of state. They may have never even heard of KXL. Can you give us a little background on that, and why is it crossed out in red?
So KXL stands for Keystone XL Pipeline. It's a new pipeline project that has been around maybe since 2000. No, in our community, we've been fighting this for a long time. And there used to be a prayer camp somewhere set up in opposition to it as well. And then Obama had it put to rest for a little bit, right? And then this new president brought it back out, and they started redoing construction and all of that. So it's been a long pipeline fight. And KXL, we can't do it. Can't do it, because one more pipeline is one more way too much.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next picture here. I think we have a couple more. Who is this?
This is Tara Walking Eagle. She was a senior, so she's graduated. I'm really excited to see what she does too. She's one of the 4 that was really adamant on, let's do something, let's physically do something. And I always can go back to prayer. I was like, well, first let's make a prayer before. I know you want to go over to that man camp and take it down, because I do. I know you want to go over there and count coup on that man camp, but we still have to be respectful, and you know, we're students, right? In this moment, you know, she was a student. She wants to really step it up, but we'll leave those type of actions for the men, and we'll just inspire them. And so she's wearing a ribbon skirt, She's holding up the red dresses that we painted. The red dress also has the red handprint over. And then the figure is also holding a eagle feather. One of my other students, Mary Woodenknife, she made this design. And it was really awesome that it comes from them. You know, I'm really impressed it comes from them. And this wasn't something that I was like, okay, we have to do this. Let's do this. And this is a part of your grade. It was really them. And so I'm really excited to see what your generation has to offer.
Can you remind us again how many of these dresses that you guys colored in and laminated?
So far, we have 200 dresses that we laminated. We want to post those up. We want to use those in some kind of manner. So this is Vesta Colomb, and her banner, little, I'm not sure what to call that, a patch. It's on canvas, and our students, they use stenciling and spray paint. So here, one of our students, Quincy LaPointe, she wanted to make a statement of it's also men and women and our gender fluid relatives. So she changed it from MMIW to MMIP, which is Missing and Murdered Indigenous People. And she's also adding a war shirt, a red war shirt as well. Yeah, and then this is some of our singers. So there's my cousin Donnie Little Thunder, and then Wade Fredericks and his son, and Morgan in the background. And then the birthday boy, my man, Manape Lemire. And this was all after, so we're kind of standing there really stoic, like stoic Indians. We were pretty proud, but we were kind of talking right then in that moment. I was talking with Wayne, and we were trying to figure out exactly what the plan would be, because the man camp moved from Cologne somewhere else. And so he's really informative on all of that. And I'm not as informative because that's a lot to take in every day, to be aware of all of that every day. So there are some times where we just need to color, decompress. And so there's a lot of therapy in that too when those students are coloring.
Awesome. So before we end this, we got about 4 minutes left. Again, thank you everyone for watching. Feel free to give this video a like, a share, host a watch party, let it replay for those who were not able to tune in at 1 o'clock today. SunRose, just want to ask you, what do you got planned next? What is next for you?
Well, Lake Andes and the Braveheart Society asked me to do a few more images for MMIW. I did one for them last year. Here's an example of my other patch.
Oh, wow.
So it has the red background and then the MMIW down the dress, and then adding those Dakota florals. So we did this image last year, and I see them around Rosebud sometimes. There were maybe like only 100 that we did of those. And so now they want to do another set of patches and hand those out. The more imagery that's out there is really something that brings it to life and causes people to think in those moments, because you'll see it scrolling maybe on Facebook or social media, but it's a constant reminder, especially when people are wearing that and living that life. So we're gonna do some more artwork. I'm gonna do some more COVID artwork. I have this sketch. This man is my COVID warrior.
Wow.
So he's a buffalo man. He's got the gas mask and some kind of cleaning solution, and also always in prayer. And so
awesome. That is really awesome. Wow.
Maybe the next COVID.
All your artwork, it's just making their rounds everywhere now. Everybody wants artwork from you.
Yes.
By the way, we also have some more stickers left, the ones that SunRose created. So these are actually for free. So if you would like a sticker, just message Sichongu CDC and we'll do our best to get one either mailed out to you, or we could schedule a safe way for you to pick up a sticker. And again, it's free, which is really amazing because they're usually about $4 or $5 for a sticker. If you order anywhere else online, they're going to charge you the sticker plus shipping, but we'll get it to you for free. All right, SunRose, so we do have to end the show. We got 1 minute left. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Is there any encouraging message that you would like to share with those watching?
Stay prayerful, stay hopeful, and always be bold. Be bold in your Indianness. Wear all your jewelry because you're a unicorn. You're mystical, mythological. People don't believe in us. So when they see us, make sure it's beautiful. Indigenize everything.
Might as well take advantage of that, right? They think we're just so mystical and just out of this world, but take advantage of it.
Yes.
All right, SunRose, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Again, for you, those of you who are watching, we do the 7 Gen live show every Friday at 1 p.m. through the Sichongu CDC Facebook live page. And we always have a guest on the show. It's not just about the host. We always have a guest on the show. So please tune in for these episodes, share the videos, repost them, host a watch party. That means everything to us. It means that's a great deal of support for us. So we will talk to you guys next Friday. Doksha.
Doksha.